And now Eric's going to stay here and moderate the next panel. But first, we have a quick word from one of our sponsor partners.
One of the sponsors, storytelling. Here we go, brand storytelling.
Então, onde eu vou para encontrar meu poder para o jogo que me fez ser eu?
Supera I confini del piacere.
The taste you deserve when you'd do anything for your team to win.
Want to meet me and win tickets to the Lifetime store? Buy Milka Max and win.
We can all find our perfect match. Every match counts.
スターバックスコーヒーの3つのローストタイプからお気に入りを見つけよう。
لا تقلق بشأن الحب مع مجموعة طابعات HP Tank.
Pas sa copine, pas encore elle. Tu peux pas détourner le regard.
Z YouTube Premium oglądaj bez reklam.
청하고 나서 두리오 아플리카cji YouTube Music.
无时无刻享受你最爱的内容。
All right, we're back. But that was great, everyone. You stayed. Wonderful. All right, now it gets good. You just had me before, but now you have an all-star panel. Thank you guys so much for being here. So let's go down the line. So first of all, we have Kate. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
All right, so Kate is super, and she is absolutely super, and her name is super, and she's with Novartis. So this is going to be cool because this actually gives us a real brand focus, which is awesome. And then we have Adi Sideman, who is at Popcorn and has a really cool platform. We were talking about it, and has been in generative. You've been in user-generated content and creating content on your own business for a long time. We have Nik Kleverov, who's one of our clients, who I've known for a long time, and I actually think one of the best generative artists in the world, in personal opinion, and is working on Critters. Yeah, you should Whoop. You should see what this guy and follow him on Instagram. All these people are amazing. I just spend a lot of time with Nick. And then last, we have Dan Katz, who's with Advanced Systems Group, and is really creative and has been also pushing the envelope as well. So this is a great panel, super excited about that. And so we have this panel that's talking about brand storytelling in the age of AI. So what I thought we would do is just really quick, we're gonna break that into two kind of like super simple concepts. And first of all, we're gonna talk about the brand storytelling piece, and then we're gonna talk what it means in the age of AI. So Kate, when you think of brand storytelling, let's just go super simple because we may have other kinds of storytelling, but we're just going to talk about brand storytelling today. So what is brand storytelling?
So brand storytelling is using narrative to connect brands to consumers. It sounds really simple, and it can be really, really hard. And there's a million ways to get there, but we'll talk more about that today.
I love that. And then in the age of AI, it can mean a lot of different things, but today we're going to hone that in a little bit. And so Nick, this has been kind of a passion area of yours and a couple of our other panels, but we're all going to talk about this a little bit. So what are we going to call this thing, like in the age of AI, when you're using tools now to kind of create content, new content in the kind of the workflow?
We're going to call it generative production.
All right, so there we go. So that's a word that we're going to use for the rest of today. When we say generative production, we're talking about these kind of tools and that. All right, so this is how we do brand storytelling with using tools of generative production is mostly what we're going to talk about in this session. Okay, so first topic, and Kate, I'm going to go back to you to start, and then all of our panelists are going to lean in. So when it comes to brand storytelling, there's a lot going on out there, but I think there's just some fundamentals of storytelling when it comes to telling a brand story. So if we get right back to the basics, what's not changing? Like, what's the foundation?
Sure, I think storytelling really comes back to that very sort of universal arc of, do you have a hero, do you have a conflict, and do you have a resolution? That will always be the same across any kind of brand storytelling, no matter how you get there.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, what do you think?
My hot take is that although everything has changed, and we're here in Silicon Valley talking about technology, but in many ways, nothing has changed. And so despite having all these tools and advancements, the heart, the fundamentals of storytelling haven't changed and are paramount.
Dan, I know you care about this topic.
Nah, not really. 100 years of filmmaking that we know about still applies. Storytelling, framing, character. What is your call to action? What's your end goal? What do you want your audience to feel, see, understand at the end? We always start at the end and work our way back. And that has been part of filmmaking since the beginning.
Yeah.
And that needs to continue.
And Adi, like you build a whole platform for this, so you think about it all the time. You've broken it down and whatnot. When you think about kind of the fundamentals, we're doing brand storytelling. What is it that, even to put the technology aside, like what's the North Star for you?
The meaning behind the story, the engagement with the audience, that's not going to change. The methodology is going to change, and not just in terms of production optimization or speed or time or cost, but also new dimensions, like the fact that the information can be created in real time based on real-time data, to name one, and to be super personalized to each consumer.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so you're kind of getting the feeling, because whatever happens with AI out there, like this is our ground floor, like this is our North Star, okay? So, but things are changing a little bit, right, Kate? So as someone that thinks about this, is what we need to do as brand storytellers changing aside from like generative production and these other tools? In other words, like if the tools didn't come, is the world still changing on the way that we need to reach an audience?
Yes, for sure. I think one of the things we're seeing across the board is people wanting and being hungry for content that feels more relatable, less sort of authoritative and talking down to or announcing to the audience, but something that feels more authentic and relatable. It can feel a little messy sometimes, and it's built that way on purpose.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so Nick, what is it? Because you get requests. So so when it comes in, you do both. You do brand storytelling work, and then you also do creative work too. So you do both, right? So but the brand work that you do, are you seeing kind of a little bit of a change on kind of what you're asking to do, or how do you feel like the audience is changing a little bit in the work that you have to do?
Well, I think every brand is a studio and have increasing demands of the quality and quantity of content that they need to create, and just messaging and comms that need to come out. So there's a lot more desire for, how can we achieve more of this? Sometimes AI is the solution, sometimes it is not. But we're certainly seeing brands take more chances at more stories, partly in thanks to these tools.
Yeah. And Adi, you've been working with like UGC content for a long time, so you've seen audiences change. So when it comes to brands and how audiences are kind of relating to brands these days, what do you see? Is it changing, staying the same? What's happening?
What we're seeing is a lot more experimentation, and let the data speak. So put out more volume, listen to what's successful, and lean in.
Dan, what are your thoughts?
I think that the same thing remains in the sense of storytelling, and that a brand is telling the story, the essence of who they are as a company. And so I always approach it in the same way I would approach a film. What are we doing? What are we talking about? What are you selling? What do you want your audience to know about you? And so do you want to use AI tools? Do you want to shoot something? There's infinite options. So it's always just a conversation with the client.
Yeah. Now, how important is the human as a part of this kind of...
Human in the loop, absolutely. It's essential. We're driving it. We're performing these tools. So, they're just tools, right? They're new tools. And we're using them to drive emotion, to drive story. That's it.
Yeah, no, I know, Kate, you care about this in conversations that you've been in as well, like how the kind of the essence of the human story has actually been not changed, if anything, maybe it's even gotten more important, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the things to think about, and you touched on this before, is that brands have very different needs. And so for some brands, that really authentic, real voice, real story is going to be number one thing that moves the needle for their brand. And so how do you use tools to get there, to make it a better experience for them, to make it a better experience for the creatives and the producers along the way to get there? But that human story and the human element that drives it is really the thing that drives the needle for a lot of brands. And then you're thinking about how you use those tools to get there.
Yeah. Now, I think, Nick, you're right in the middle of these processes all the time, and it seems to be a pretty alive process when you're working with your teams. What's it like as you're working with these tools and telling brand stories?
Yeah, I mean, the brands are really leaning in. After we did the Toys R Us piece, I think that we were part of that wave that...
How many people have seen that, the Toys R Us commercial that came out
It was the
last
first
Christmas?
ever AI commercial made. It caused quite a ruckus when it came out. And then, 6 months later, it was Coke and so on and so forth. And now we're just seeing more and more brands being willing to kind of take a chance. And certainly it makes a lot of sense, especially for D2C brands or brands that are, need to react to the market quicker. I mean, it's not always the right choice for long form, obviously, brand storytelling, but we're seeing a lot of excitement. For example, one of our clients is Virgin. They have a cruise line, and they have these 4 mermaids, right? 4 ships, 4 mermaids, and each mermaid has a story, has a different trajectory of different cities and ports they go to, and they'd been wanting to do brand storytelling with this for the longest time, but it wasn't possible. It was just completely out of reach from a budget standpoint. So that was something that they greenlit, and in turn, created a ton more jobs and created this whole brand storytelling system we built for them with these mermaids, which is really fun and kind of ongoing work. So, there's at the same time, there's all the job stuff and job discussions. We're part of something now that just wouldn't have even been greenlit if not for the tools.
I love that. And we're going to see that soon. So let's talk about the tools. Generative production. Okay, so Adi, we're going to start with you. In real life, on real productions, in addition to popcorn, what are some of the tools you actually have been using? So this, if you're in the audience right now, we're going to make almost like a little cheat sheet list here for you real time. So these would be things, these are pros that are using it. So if you thought of like, oh, here's what they're using, this you're going to find out right now. So Adi, like 5 tools to help with generative production, and not all of them may be an AI tool, right?
I'm going to let Nik talk about the video tools because he uses them all day. And I'm going to start actually with a general productivity tool in our day-to-day work. And I have a new personal assistant. It's called Tasklet.ai. It's connected to my CRM. It's connected to my email. It's connected to my Google Docs.
So we're taking real-time notes right here. Look at this.
Everything that I do, it knows everything that I do. I can ask it any question. I no longer need to search for it. It will send the email on my behalf. It will invite the people to the event, each one of them, as a follow-up on their own thread, and I can trust it that it will have my voice. And in many ways, that is the future. So I probably took the time of 5 things.
That's okay, but I actually love the answer, and Kate and I, we were talking earlier about kind of the producer role, which is right up front, and what's so nice about what you just said is that, and that's why I actually asked the question that way, we think of generative production, it's an end-to-end process, like production starts before we shoot anything and it ends at the end. So Kate, what are some of the tools your teams have been using? And then you also have like another really interesting insight here too that I want you to share.
Yeah, and I'll start with the bigger one, which is I think it's really important to know that you have to work within the safety and governance of the brands that you're working with, right? So some brands will use some tools and other brands will use a different tool. It doesn't mean you can't do the same thing or the same kinds of things within those, but for the safety and security of those brands, you have to work within those worlds. So I will say among teams, the different opportunities that we have to work with some of these tools are, I've heard Copilot a lot today. We love Copilot. We love everything in the Adobe Cloud. We are experimenting with just about everything that's out there, and it just depends on what we're doing and who we're making it for that we're allowed to use it. But everyone's certainly dabbling and learning in each of those tools to see where we can go with them.
And actually, so one of the big insights there, and I'm hearing this a lot in Hollywood, is that because they're having to protect IP and ecosystems, it's almost like, we'll see where it goes, but you may have to be even a little bit more flexible on working inside someone else's ecosystem because that's where the data is that you might actually need to generate some material out in your production. So, all right, so you definitely, there's one tool you use a lot because Nik was one of the original Sora 7 artists, so Sora is one.
Yeah, the walled garden is certainly a big thing these days, and we actually have our own cheat sheet of, okay, what brand and what studio said yes to which tools, and so we have to keep track of that because the lawyers, want to know, okay, is this one passing indemnity, is that not? Yes, we have a great relationship with OpenAI because we, got in very early with them, and Eric mentioned I was one of the first 7 people in the world to use Sora, and got really deep in with that tool and have really enjoyed seeing where that's gone and grown to. But we use all the top tier models. Obviously, Luma I think is a really great one. We use Runway. We also, use the free pick suite, which allows you to select from many models. Now, within that, even though some of the kind of like forbidden models are there, we have to keep in mind which client it's for and what we're allowed to use and what we're not allowed to use, even though, in theory, anything coming out of FreePick is giving you that indemnity. And then, of course, everything goes through Adobe at the end, right? And in some cases, we are doing Firefly, and Adobe Boards is a really great new thing, but everything is being plugged back into that filmmaking system that we've known and loved for decades.
Got it. So if you did a project for Al Capone, you could use a forbidden model, but other than that, no.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
Okay. What tools? What do you?
I hang out a lot in Higgsfield. FreePick sometimes. I've been doing Comfy UI. That is a scary place to hang out. But if you tap into Comfy UI, you can do a lot of custom pipelines. There's some other services that are that employ nodes as well. It's scary, but you get a lot of control in that. Higgsfield has so many models, so many tools that can just advance what you're trying to do. It's intimidating at first, tapping into these tools, but just have fun, explore. It's there's so many out there, and it's changing all the time. Every 2 weeks, there's something new. There's a new model, a new upgrade to a model. And you just got to keep pushing and play with all of them. Higgs is a good place to start. Oh, and also, there's been a dependence on GPUs, local GPUs, and I think that's changing. I think the local hardware isn't as important now. You can do a lot of what you're trying to do in the cloud, even Comfy UI stuff. You can rent GPUs online, so I do that too.
All right, so we've set up the situation. We're going into my favorite part of any one of these, which is examples. Everyone like examples? All right, good. And so what we're going to do, so we know what we should be doing for brand storytelling and being good storytellers. We have some tools that we could use. So let's talk about some of those so great examples. And so Kate, I'm starting with you. And we actually have, so back to our media group, we actually can show a couple of these examples. You want to see a couple things? Yeah, all right, now it gets fun. You thought this was going to be boring. Okay, so let's start with the Novartis example, and then Kate, what we'll do is you could tell us a little bit about what we were seeing in the example, and then what you kind of learned from the project.
Well, I'd love to watch the clip, and then I'll talk about how we got there with it.
Native Foreign is a creative studio and agency
this
powered
is a
by
good one too.
AI
Actually, we'll
that
do Nick
puts
first.
Human story
Oh no, we'll go back to Kate. There we go.
The first time I went into an underwater cave in Mexico, I fulfilled a childhood dream of going to another planet. I was absolutely fascinated by the ocean. It changed my life. I mean, I dream about it.
All right. Give a clap. Give a little clap. Good job. Nice job, Kate. All right. So tell us, what did we just see? What happened, and what'd you learn?
So this is a patient story that we're really proud of. It's a wonderful story. It's beautifully put together with a great set of filmmakers. And one of the things that's interesting about it, and really translates to a lot of the workflow that we have across our brands and above brand work, is thinking about how we use AI to create a better experience and a better process for everyone who makes it. So all of you with expert eyes in the room will see that we took archival footage. We were able to sharpen it up with AI tools, and that's really nice. We were able to take something that was really real and part of his story and bring it to life in a way that works well for our modern eyes. But what's really important about how we get to that clip is something, it's a framework we call low lift, high impact storytelling. And it works in a lot of different ways. It works for creatives as they're working through the planning and thinking through their angles and their stories. They're able to use a lot of previs and storyboarding for our producers. They can run through schedules and iterations of what we're doing and where we're doing it. And what's really important about that for our patient ambassadors or for our experts or anyone we're putting on camera is that once we get to production, it is a much lighter lift. It's a much lighter lift for production, and they have a much better experience, or they can have a better experience, because the day is so easily planned out. We fly right through it. We take less time, and we do fewer setups for them. And for patients in particular, and for experts who are incredibly busy and in very high demand, it makes a really big difference in their participation and what we're able to capture along the way.
I love it. And it looks pretty cool, right? It looks good. Okay, yeah.
Beautiful.
That's right. All right, so let's, so Nick, now we can look at our native foreign.
Roll the tape. Native
Okay,
foreign.
take a look.
Native Foreign is a creative studio and agency powered by AI that puts human storytelling at the forefront of everything we do. From partnering with the biggest brands in the world to startups and everything in between, we are experts in authentic yet elevated storytelling. As pioneers in the AI space, we created the first ever brand film generated with AI that went ultra viral, reaching over 1.5 billion people. We also created one of the first animated AI shorts, Critters, which will become one of the first AI native IPs to become a feature film. We believe that these tools are ushering in a new age of creative, where we'll see a renaissance of independent storytelling that we are on the cutting edge of. We've embodied a create by any means necessary mindset for years, and now we've developed a slate of originals. We are WBNC certified, women-owned, packed with Emmy, Oscar, and Grammy-grade creatives, and excited to show you what's next. This is Native Foreign.
All right, so you have a couple, yeah, big round of applause. So a couple great clips. In there, you kind of saw it was kind of a fast track way to show several clips in there. But you want a couple of those you want to call out and talk a little bit about what we learned?
I mean, we're really excited about the Critters film. It'll be one of the first AI native IPs to have a feature-length expression, and we have support from OpenAI. We've also been partnering with other tech companies. We recently premiered something at Adobe Max that is called Beta Earth with a writer-producer from Modern Family, kind of a more 2D adult animated cartoon. So we're getting to have a lot of fun doing our own original stories, while of course our kind of bread and butter and our background is brand storytelling, which we're continuing to do, obviously with the Mermaids and many other really fun projects that will be coming out in the days to come.
I love it. What's the biggest thing you've learned over the last year when making some of this content?
You know, I have clients sometimes come to me and there's a lot of headline chasing happening and they're like, hey, I saw that like you could do this over the weekend for like $50 and so you could turn this around in a week for me, right? And get that back to me. And I'm like, no offense to the brand person in the room, but I'm like, can you even respond to my email in a week? I mean, the amount of brand stakeholders and things that happen, that's the everything's changed, but nothing's changed that I've learned.
That's right. We need the automated email system to go help you out there with that. So Adi, you also have an example, right?
Yeah, I'll introduce it.
All right, so.
So we work a lot with creators, Eric, and people forget that creators are brands. And now they have actual little mini studios working around them because they need to feed the beast, just like the brand. You're a media company. Every brand needs to be a media company. And so this example is actually a creator example. I think he may even be in the room, Jim Lauterbach. He is a big creator economy guy, top creator on LinkedIn. And he puts out a newsletter about the creator economy. And now, with a press of a button, that textual newsletter can become
bring it to life.
A video.
Let's do that.
Welcome to the chaos. I'm Jim Lauterbach, and we're burning through the hottest stories faster than your attention span. First bloodbath, micro-series mania hits. YouTube's about to lose their damn minds over missing this gold mine.
Shit, we're hemorrhaging eyeballs to these bite-sized shows. Move fast or we're screwed.
Enter Lloyd Braun with MicroCo, promising 10 billion reasons why you should give a damn.
We're not fucking Kibi, all right? We're going beyond melodrama. This is pure dopamine rocket fuel.
What about creators? You bringing them into the money party?
Absolutely. But we're hunting unicorns, not collecting participation trophies.
Flashback to Lloyd's Yahoo meltdown when computers flew and Windows died.
Sometimes innovation requires defenestration and better insurance.
Plot twist, TikTok's marketing mastermind jumps ship to Tubi. Creator revolution incoming.
Welcome to the rebellion, Kudzi.
So we can stop it, but the short of it is a robot makes this automatically.
That was cool, yeah, all right.
And the human in the loop, in this case, is the subject, is the creator who is emanating out of the data.
Yeah, no, I love that. So what are some of that? You've also been doing a lot of project work. Yeah, what was an example, a use case that you really would like to highlight?
Well, I can show you the reel. This is about 40 seconds of a quick blast of samples of stuff I've been working on. I do music video work a lot. Been getting into narrative now. Been helping an agency develop for future AI. They want to see what's possible. They aren't there yet. And so some of the work that I've done is just demonstration of capability.
Finally, you can work from anywhere. We wanted to make a machine that can rehydrate a full human head. I just painted a masterpiece in your upstairs bathroom.
I'm too sexy for this.
What the fuck, Chad?
Too sexy for my cat. Too sexy for my cat. Too sexy for my sexy for my. Come on now. Too sexy for my cat. Too sexy for my cat. Let's see who lives to talk about it.
So let's do this in the last couple minutes. When it comes to learning and education, so like for yourself and your teams, how have you shifted the way that you think about like experimentation and just learning as kind of on a weekly basis? Have you increased it? Are you doing more experimentation learning? What's going on? And Ron, I'll start with you.
It's constant. I'm sitting at my desk all the time pushing the boundaries and seeing what I can get away with. What can I make this image do? How can I create either the image in my head or what my client seeks to do. So experimentation is essential. And I just encourage everybody to dive in, just start playing. And you know, a great place to start is just with your family. Just make family videos and make people smile, make people laugh, and just tinker with it that way before you start trying to go pro. And that's gonna make you feel a little more comfortable. Just play.
Love it. Nick, how about yourself? Are you spending more time?
So I had this realization. I was at a bowling alley, and they're playing music videos, and the video for Starship, We Built This City, comes up. And I'm watching this, we built this city. Right?
Hey, by the way, I was singing that in the last panel, because we were talking about this.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, this is actually so incredible because it's kind of bad, but it's also pushing so many boundaries, thinking about when it was made. And there's some stuff that's actually really good about it, and it's really creative and different, and in some ways was the first time some of this green screen type technology was made. And I was like, we are living in that era now with the AI stuff we're seeing coming out that's pushing boundaries. Some of it's great, some of it's kind of bad, but it's okay because we are pushing things forward. We're gonna revisit that stuff with this nostalgia, which is really exciting. And that just kind of made me think, we are week by week rapidly changing everything. And so yes, I have to carve out more time for myself and my day-to-day of just trying to keep up with the tools.
It's a fire hose.
Yeah, we have people on the team now whose their job is basically just to tell me what's happening because I don't have time to do all that. And
how many people are feeling that way a little bit, yeah? Yeah. All right, real quick, exciting. Adi and Kate.
I'll say two quick things. One, everybody on the team is creating products. The product manager is coding, vibe coding. The marketers are vibe coding using Replit, Lovable, Claude Code, whatever it is. Everybody is producing interactive, engaging software. The second thing is my kids, we don't allow devices. And so they draw all day and they draw characters. And they talk to me about YouTube channels because they hear about it from their friends. And so I decided they should get a YouTube channel, even though they're not allowed on devices. We scan their characters, we upload it into Popcorn, we tell the story, it becomes movies. They don't even know how many views they have on YouTube because they can't watch it.
I love that. And by the way, I have 3 kids. If you got kids, I think it's actually one of the best things you could do right now. So yeah, great. And then Kate, we'll finish with you.
No, well, really quickly, just to add, I think, yes, everyone's hungry for it, and I think it's different this year than it was last year, would have felt like homework for a lot of people. Now I would say everybody on every level is really hungry for it, and part of what I think is important across the board is for everyone to make time for it, but also to support it with resources so that you can get in and play around, you can make videos, you can make podcasts with 11 Labs or whatever you're playing with. You got to get in and play and do it so that you're literate in it.
Amazing. Dan, Nick, Adi, Kate, thank you guys so much. Big round of applause. You guys are the best.
Thanks, everybody.